Questions from previous classes. Single roles, derived roles. Composite roles. Anything. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Now we will today we will I will discuss later. Okay. Okay. So business roles. We will discuss on the business role management. Okay. Business roles also same like a composite roles combination, but whereas it is irrespective of system. The business role concept came in the organization. If anyone needs access for multiple systems based on job responsibilities, they need to perform the tasks. Example, security consultant. Security consultant will require access in all the systems. And each system we will develop till composite role. But whereas a business role is combining the composite roles all the systems and will define in the GRC system and make sure that this business role combination is a consistent access for their job responsibilities, because based on the job we will map the appropriate composite roles like this is a system independent. There are two systems. Whatever the technical roles, like a single roles or composite roles, whatever the least value, if we are following a technical role, list element is a single role. Even in combination of single roles also we can develop a business role. If it is a derived roles or a composite role, then we will combine all technical roles and will define the business role. And it is irrespective of system. Based on the landscape, we will import the roles, or the complete function will work based on the landscape. That we will discuss in a couple of minutes. But it is irrespective of system. So any questions on the definition? Any system, but we will, yeah, here connector configuration will plays a major role. Connector group especially, the connector group name equivalent to landscape name. So ECC we will define one connector, solvent system will define one connector group, and BI system one connector group. So like this we will design our landscape, then we will combine all the technical roles based on the landscape. We will create the definition of the business role. That is what we will discuss today. Okay. For a business role pre-steps, there are two configuration parameters which we need to maintain in the system. These two parameters will basically help in the system. One is a 4016 parameter, which is the consider only the approved or completed version of the business role. Sometimes what will happen, business roles during any role imports, the role status is define or complete. Sometimes it may change to define, but it must be complete status. Yeah. So this is a defined role, but this is a technical role. If we are trying to change anything in the business role, it needs to be follow some methodology. Any role, single derived composite business. So this methodology status should complete. Otherwise, it will whatever the stage it has, the name or it was struck, that stage name only it will mention in the current phase. But the 4016 parameter is saying ideally this stage should be complete always. So then only the complete authorizations in sync and associated roles or everything, whatever the associated composite roles of a business role will be assigned to the users. Otherwise, if this is a still in approved phase, some of the inconsistency would will be exist in the GRC system and as well as backend system. Parameter to avoid such conditions, 4016 parameter will help. Ideally, it should say S. By default value is no, but we need to make it S so that the completed and approved versions of the business role will be considered in the access request. Otherwise, it will throw an error. The second one is 4011. Delete the technical role if it is a part of a business role. So sometimes what will happen, a business role has a multiple single roles or composite roles. Maybe this is a business role. This role is associated of a business role. If we have not set the parameter 4011 to no, then even we can delete this single role from the user buffer through cup request. Like we will submit the removal request for this particular user, particular single role from the user. Automatically, the parent and child relation between the systems will be disconnected. Then it will create inconsistency. So to avoid such condition, we must maintain this parameter to know. Any questions? Yes, yes. Because I have not captured a proper screenshot actually. Might be. Yeah. So I will temporarily remove, later I will change. Ideally it should be no. So it won't allow if anybody is trying to um, try to submit the roles at single role, technical role level, the system will not allow. So that it will, the business role and or technical role, the combination will be consistent and parent and child role relationship will not be broken. So this is also, we can take example in the normal ECC system, any master and derived role combination. So on the description tab, we will maintain the relationship derived combination. What is the master role name? So if we want to break it, then we just click on the relation hierarchy. Automatically it will be disconnected and two roles will be act as a independent single roles within the same system. But whereas The business role concept is existing in only in the GRC system, the definition. And all the technical roles are existing in the backend systems. So ideally, the relation should not break. So to avoid such conditions, we must maintain this parameter set to no. Mhm. Yes, yes, yes. Yeah, it will consider, but user buffer will get the issues. Like appropriate roles and appropriate authorizations will not assign to the user. Why? Because take an example for this role. So this role is a defined role. The authorizations and any other generation of role or generation of profile, anything will not be assigned to user, because still this is generate role is stages fourth stage. So this role was imported with a defined stage, and a role was not generated. We are not sure. We are just started provisioning this role to the user. So this role was not generated. So whatever the latest authorization, recent authorizations will not assign to user. And also the chances of role active, like we must active, role should be active only based on the profile, right? The set of authorization. Yeah, there is a chances. Yes, that is the reason we will see user, end user, finally end user doesn't know whether it is a current phase or a complete status. But as a GRC consultant, we must make sure that it should always be in the complete status, and the operations will be performed. So to avoid such conditions, we must maintain this parameter. This parameter will help us the considering the complete status roles. It is a GRC responsible, GRC admin responsibility. Mhm. Mhm. No, see, whenever we are setting the parameter, right, automatically it will associated some coding, right? It will stop. One. We can change. We can change. No, this one. No, no, I'm not. Okay. No, 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 no. So this is role imports. No? This is a role imports. So this is a role imports. Somebody has manually changed this status. Okay. So as a system health check, we must make sure that we need to check the this particular screen. How many roles were complete status, or is there any like appropriate status were not maintained. This is a GRC admin responsibility. Yes, it's a kind of a daily operation. It's a kind of a daily or monthly system health check. Yes, this should be always in a complete state. Okay, and one more thing, the operations when the operations needs to be performed here and monitoring are chances of changing the status if we are implemented BRM. Otherwise, we will use the only files, right? So with this, we will always maintain a complete status during the role imports. So the chances is very less without BRM implementation. But right now, we are discussing based on the BRM, right? BRM model. So the chances is very high for changing the role status. Are you getting me, Srikant? No, 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 no. See, definitely there might be a chances for they have not maintained proper status in the column. And one more thing, somebody has opened this role and click on this, then automatically the change status it will change to maintain authorization. See, somebody has manually changed the data even without BRM. Somebody has manually changed so that it will automatically change the status. But as a GRC consultant, we need to make sure that the status should be complete so that the operations will be smooth. Otherwise, user will be assigned appropriate role, but he won't be able to execute particular authorizations, some authorization issues. But whereas the same role will be assigned, might be after a complete status, the authorizations and other colleagues might be executed successfully. So whenever the issues would come, then definitely we must check, right? Like whether the role comparison is completed, user comparison is completed or not in normal ECC way. Similarly, in the GRC system, we will check the phase, whether it is in a complete phase or incomplete phase. The, the role methodology steps we discussed on the single role. Shrikant, you want to attend this session? Okay, don't worry. We have a business role perspective. We have a one slide. Okay. Huh. 1 minute. That is a business role. Yeah, I'm opening. Yes. Business role. Shrikant, just wait. We'll discuss how to import the role first. Yeah, yeah. We were not moved that phase yet. Okay, we just want to set the parameter, but first we need to. There is another pre-configuration is role methodology. Okay, so this is I have defined. I have this slide is for only a business role pre-methodology. Okay, I just maintain the comparison. The highlighted defined step definition, this is for a single roles in general. Sorry, the methodology steps available. But whereas except provisioning, all the steps for any technical role like um, single role and composite role, we will maintain except provisioning. But for a business roles, we want to include additional step provisioning. So that methodology step needs to be added, and we have to maintain the methodology steps for business role. It needs just only definition and provisioning. We don't require any additional steps. Business role. Yeah, yeah, because the steps which required, right, maintain authorization and everything is a technical part. Whereas a business role, it doesn't require any steps. Okay. Why provisioning button is required for this? What is the importance of provisioning button is, meaning whatever the properties we are filling here. Okay, suppose a landscape. I'm just showing one example. Provisioning, right? The provisioning button has update assignment. This is a special feature is available in the provisioning button. Meaning, suppose say the business role definition has a list of roles, 10 or 19 roles. Suppose say this role will be removed tomorrow. Okay. And now it is consists of 18 roles, the combination, right? The business role definition has changed. Now the new business role definition will be imported into GRC system, and the existing business role will be assigned to users. So update assignment. Automatically this business role records, 18 records, will be adjusted in the user buffer, and the additional role will be removed from the user account. To make an adjustment for ongoing operations, we would require a provisioning button because it consists in update assignment. It's like a same in normal ECC security. Whenever you have added additional role, you just do the user comparison and complete comparison, right? Similarly, the business role definitions, in case of any change in the business role definition, we just make sure that the records to be adjusted for a user account. Are you getting me? Yeah. Yes. Yeah, it will automatically taking care of that. How it will automatically taking care? It requires, it will, as soon as we click on update assignment, automatically one background job will be executed. Okay. To get that background job, there is also one of the configuration step which is required to performed in the system. Okay. But as per I have, so far I have observed, GRC 12, the configuration step will automatically performed in the system. I'm not sure because I will go to the step is not a mandatory. Earlier it was mandatory, but I don't know. Right now, I have observed a 3 or 4 implementations recently. So the stable structure is not allowing grfnc. So it is saying that it is not in the dictionary. But what we have to do is we just go to this table. We'll just click on a change automatically. This step GRAC BRLP. So whether this class is maintained or not. If not, we need to maintain this class. Access control, business role provisioning, background job. So this above class not exist in the older versions like 10 and 10.1. We must complete this activity is one of the configuration steps. But in GRC 12, I have observed 2 or 3 implementations. This table structure is not allowed, whereas when we click on the update assignment, automatically it will trigger the background job and it is adjusting the user records. I think these changes will be adopted in GRC 12. But um, since it is a practice for 10 or 10.1, probably you may verify any of the blogs or anything. So you will get confused. So that is the reason I just want to share this information with you. But we just need to check the functionality. If the table structure is not existing in the system, this option we will provision the users one of the business role. Then we will change the business role definition. Then we will adjust the user records with help of update assignment. Then whether the background job will be executing or not, we need to check that. Yes. Okay. Mhm. Okay. 1 minute. 1 minute. One minute. In the system, right? Yeah. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. No, we will perform the mass risk analysis. We will perform the mass risk analysis. If we want, we can add a stage. That is not an issue, but generally it won't be. We will do separate risk analysis for background job, right? While selecting the role level, we will select the business role type, and we will perform mass business role like a role name starts with like just we have a few roles, right? Just test. Then there is no technical role. Irrespective of system, we will perform the risk analysis for all the roles. Or if it is independent role, we will perform. So it is not compulsion, and it is not there is no harm we can add. But the problem with adding the risk analysis phase here, because it will be the business role will be associated to multiple systems, and all the RFC connections and everything should be fine, right? So it may take time, and till the time this would be in the uh, like a defined role stage. So as soon as the business role is configured, automatically we will perform the risk analysis. We will get the clearance from compliance. Then, like in case of any, then we will plan for the mitigation. Then only we will allow this role for the provisioning. That is what we are doing in the daily operations. But we can add. There is no harm on that. As soon as you have added the new stage, we have to perform all the roles. Like each and every role, we have to go and reapply the methodology. Then only it will change. Like all the business roles. Then the new phase would be up, displayed in between the defined role and provision. Yeah. So this is a role methodology steps we will define for business roles. So generally, a business role will be imported. Then any changes. So we have two options. Either we will remove the role from users, or we will adjust the user records through enable provisioning button. If not, we have another option. We will remove the existing business role and we will re-import the new business role. Then we will re-provision to the all the users. Suppose this business role is assigned to 5 users. So there is a change in the definition. Definition means might be 3 or 4 roles. Then whatever, we have two options. Either the existing business role we will remove from the users through submit scope request, but that will impact the user access and user daily responsibilities. And the second one is enable provisioning record. Enable provisioning button and adjust the user record. Mhm. No, that's what. We will re-import the role, right? Mhm. See, adding the authorizations will be comes to technical role. Okay, that we will just run the authorization signature. But whether that is causing the risk analysis, that whether that is new authorizations causing the risk or not, we just need to perform the risk analysis against the rule, right? That will not a issue with the business role level. But here the business role operations only the roles adjustment, either adding or removing the associated roles from the business role, because that will be impacted to the user assignments, and this will causes the inconsistency from the GRC system to backend system, because the business role definition is the new business role definition is 5 roles, but the user assignments are only 4 roles because of the existing assignments. At least to make sure that consistency, right? we need to make sure the consistency from backend system to GRC. Are you getting me? Organization level. Only the assigned role assignment or associated roles, associated technical roles. Yes, yes, exactly. User comparison or complete comparison. So this step, um, as of now, yeah, right now it is not required to do that. Automatically, the job will be automatically trigger and it is making adjustments. I have verified two projects, but at least for a sec, you can verify this whether it is possible or not. Yes, yeah. That the see since 10.1, since you are already using the business role, then definitely this step were configured. So even upgrade. If it is this step is required for only a fresh implementation. Like right now we are using composite roles. Now we need to move to business role. Then we need to check whether this configuration is configured or not. But right now SAP has provided this as part of one of the configurations. So no need to perform this job. Yeah, no need to perform. But just want to make sure this um, whether this option is available or not. So business roles. Right now we discussed, right? So this is also a same like normal roles, like a technical roles what we discussed before. So it starts with the name. The type is BUS for business roles, and description, business process, sub process, then a project name, then role status. So now the role status is a very important, whether this role will be available for user selection in the request, then we will maintain PRD. So here the design like this in our operations, if you are implementing business roles, then single derived composite, all roles generally they will maintain dev status because they don't want to allow them user to select any single roles or composite or derived roles, because all the operations will be in the business role level. So they don't require the technical roles like this. Otherwise, if we are using composite role only operation, then single and derived role should be dev status and composite role would be PRD status. Like this we will design, but you need an exception for common roles, common technical roles, some of the common roles which needs to be assigned to all the users. So that common role should be status. Only whatever the highest operation level role element that is in the production status and common technical roles in the production status. Rest all you can maintain in the dev status. Mm, which one? This one? Okay. Suppose you are using business roles. Okay. Business role is the highest operation level, right? Then it should be in the PRD. So composite role, composite, derived and single or master. So all are in dev status. Okay, except a common technical role. This should be assigned to all the users. This role, either a composite role or a single role, whatever it may be, we need to maintain PRD status. If your operation is not at business role level, you are still using composite role level, then this is the highest element, role assignment. So composite role should be in the PRD status, rest are all dev status. And common role, sorry, no, see, those are associated with composite roles or business roles, but the highest element, whatever business or composite role is, will be visible, right? It should be visible for user selection. Then only business roles will be, we need to maintain the status as PRD. Why we would require technical roles? Because they will select either a business role or composite role. That is fine for their role matrix, as per their role matrix. If they will be able to see a single role or derived role, if they select, and which gives only a particular access, right? Because end user doesn't know. They will select a particular, not all the roles. They need to give some guidance, right? To avoid such conditions, we will make them dev status. Ideally, these roles will not be visible for user selection, but these roles will exist in the GRC system after role input. So this is the status only. Oh my goodness. This is only for user selection, role status. So based on the highest element, we will maintain the status. If it is business role, everything would be in dev. If it is composite role, the least elements are dev. Yes, you don't require it, right? Yeah. So the approvers, we will maintain the approvers and assignment approver status. But for a business role, so the column X. So for composite roles, we will just maintain the single roles here, but we will maintain the systems. Business role, the column X has composite roles or single roles, whatever it may be. If the business role is combination of single and composite, we will maintain all the single and composite role combinations. But additionally, for business roles, we will maintain the landscape. See, right now we are using SAP R3 LG for all three systems: GRC, S4HANA, and the gateway system. That is the reason I have maintained. But if it is a BI system, then might be one. So if it is a BI system, then automatically we will maintain the same landscape, BA landscape. If it is a portal, then portal landscape. If it is a Ariba, whatever the landscape or connector group which we have maintained during the connector configuration, that will treat it as a landscape name, and we will maintain the role respective connector group here. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. No, that is not a problem. No. See, that is the reason Subha just now mentioned, right? The role, whatever the provisioning option, right? During the role import, you can maintain the role provisioning options, well, on which systems the role is provisioned, allow provisioning and auto allow provisioning for each system. During the role import, you have maintained three systems, then Z end user will be assigned to all the three systems if it is the same landscape. Are you getting me? No, 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 no. It is not possible. No. You have to change this. You have to change the technical settings in this technical roles only. Business role, you cannot do anything. If you don't require, you can remove this role from the business. You can create a separate end user role for a separate business role. Yeah, we can see. Ultimately, this is just a combination. Okay, business role definition is whatever the technical roles, it's just a combination for a particular position. If the user requires this particular role for his position to assign into the system, then we will maintain the definition in the business role sheet. Otherwise, we will remove that and we'll create a separate business role. And business roles, yeah. Hmm. Hmm. No, that is what I'm saying. Whatever the control you have to maintain, you can maintain here the same role name convention. Okay, you can select that option. So automatically this role will be provisioned only in the ECC system. It will not provision in G12. Like this control you can do in the, if it is the same role at the technical role level only. Based on that, yeah, we are just mapping the landscape. But whatever the definition and whatever the system which needs to be provisioned and everything, you can control at a technical role level only. In the technical role, yes. Yeah. So this is the additional column. Y is the additional for business role. We will maintain the landscape, and rest of the other fields we won't maintain anything. So the methodology status should be complete. That's it. Now, suppose say, Mhm. Yeah, TXT format. Excel format, sometimes some versions it would be, but test format. So the business role, automatically the business role would be landscape and everything is business role. So the methodology status complete. Okay, file from desktop. So the role is imported. Mhm. So the business role is imported now. We'll just go to role maintenance. Come on. Yeah, the business role is imported. So now we will just check it. More details. Who are the owners and what are the associated roles. But here it will display landscape. Right? So Jad BS2, right? Access request. So whenever you just select the row. So the system tab won't be there. It is irrespective of the system. If you are giving new system. Yeah, yeah. Yes. 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 So now if you selected, it is saying that no records found. So it is always irrespective of system, independent of system. And also sometimes might be company. So generally business role mostly maintained with some particular company. We have not maintained, but generally companies are associated. So we need to make sure that while you are searching, we have to remove the company. Mostly in your operations, you may observe company is mandatory, but whereas when you search the name, you cannot find. This one, um, maintain role attributes. No? So Pro there is a we have not started ARM. Okay, it is a part of ARM step. This is configuring the role search criteria access request. So we have not gone through. So the main module we have not entered it. So we will discuss the fields. So this is a business role, but one of the important thing we need to fill. during the business role, as soon as we have selected the business role, sometimes this is actually the provisioning option. Sorry, it's a provisioning environment. Provisioning environment. Sometimes what will happen for a business role, by default it will displayed all. Sometimes users will select, they think that they need a production access, and they will select in the drop down and submit the request. All the approvers stages are completed, but it will throw an error. Provisioning log will not available. Something error in the audit log. Because of that, business role is irrespective of even environment. So ideally, your business is cross client, like cross landscape. Might be the technical roles were production system and as well as quality system. It may include. So don't select any environment here. It should be always all. But if you compare any other technical roles, it may differ. The system, everything you will be able to see. I don't know how many roles are here. So this is a production and system will be displayed. So users will think that same the behavior of the business role will be same like a technical role. Ideally, it should not. It won't provision. If you select environment, it will throw a provisioning error log. So make sure this is generally for business role level operations. You may get incidents even though requests are approved and roles were not assigned to users. Because of this is the issue. Yeah. So, and as soon as the update assignment button is not enabled, there are two meanings. One is it is still in the process, or the business role was not assigned to any users. So the background job is still in the process probably, or the role was not assigned to any users. If you observe this carefully on the screenshot, this is what. As soon as we click on the update assignment, one background job is started, and the job ID, this is a job ID, and this is a result, and this is completed. So like this, the background job will be automatically initiated and adjust the user records with help of this program, CLGRC ERM B-roll underscore BG. So to get this option, we need to check the table view and this entry, whether it is existing in the table. Okay. So now till we are good. Now how to check the consistency of the business role. So as soon as we have set, we have not initiated 4011 parameter, and we have allowed them technical roles to be removed. But we have set the parameter 4011 set to no. Make sure that the technical roles were not removed. But whenever the business role changed, we will re-import the roles, but we have not used the adjusted. We have not used the existing functionality, adjust the user records. Still, this will gives the inconsistency in the business role, right? So to avoid such condition, SAP has provided one program, but this will work for only one user. We need to schedule background job, but it may impact on the system performance. Check, right? Here is it. Check. Business role assignment. We will just execute. We don't have a business role, but business role. We show this. See, once we went through, we will execute the program for any user. Then it has a different conditions like a green color, red color, yellow color. It will display. So whether based on the color coding, we must understand that whether it is a consistent or inconsistent for the user. You can check the business role ID. Whatever the business role ID you can take, and you can verify that all the users records are consistent or not. Yes. We'll take the business role ID and we'll check the consistency. But I'll check is there any screenshots which are available, but I'll try to share. Right now we have some issue in the workflow, so we are not able to provision. Until unless it will not provision through GRC, we cannot use this option, adjust the user records. I'll try to share some screenshots if possible for this consistency color coding. Based on this like messages, we understand that the business role inconsistencies exist in the system. Final the best practices for business roles. Okay, so generally we will see the repository table is GRC user role is the table. We will check the GRC to business role user assignments. But this table causes inconsistency with various reasons. One is don't remove direct assignments from the backend system. Like we can go to SU01 and remove the roles from the user. And also we cannot directly delete the user account in the backend system. And business role scenario, still this is an issue. So we cannot re-provision the business role, retain and provision the users. And don't schedule PRG and compress underscore times. Like whenever the role assignments are completed to the users, the assignment date, we will use this program and remove the old assignments. So don't using business role operation, don't schedule this background job in your system because it will automatically delete daily whatever the expired roles from the user account. But whereas the roles were provisioned through GRC system. So it will create inconsistency in the GRC tables. And always, to make consistency, we will always make sure that the 4019 should be yes and 4011 should be no. And whenever you are using BRF like a business rule, don't execute portal sync job directly. So we have to implement one correction node. Then we will execute the portal sync job, repository sync job. So another thing, the role name of the single role name and business role name. Make sure that don't maintain the same role. And no comparison is allowed because business role definition is existing in the only GRC system. Just 1 minute. Sorry. So no comparison is allowed because the business role definition is existing in GRC system. So for every business role definition, we must make sure that enable provisioning button is adjusted and the records appropriate. Any questions? Any questions? Hello. Four zero one nine. Okay. 4019 is additional one. This is actually consistency for the records. So what it will do, it will adjust the records with the latest one. So that so do not copy the manual assignments during the repository sync. Okay, this situation will come. Suppose if you are using single roles, right? Then later you move to composite role, sorry, business role. But the existing assignments would be there, right? Sometimes you may not remove the existing assignments and you will provision the roles. Sometimes the operations will not perform like that. Whatever the existing assignment provision, after GRC implementation, they will provision through GRC. So which may cause inconsistency. Mhm. No, 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 no. See, this parameter when you required for business role, for a normal technical role operation, right? Technical role means single, derived, and composite. You can whatever the direct assignments also it will automatically sync and it will be available for provisioning and remove. But when you are using, make sure that you will not allow the direct role assignments in the repository sync. We have to make sure that this parameter has to set. Yes, 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 yes. Okay, for a business role issue point of view, so we have seen all the things, right? Like the first issue, business role relation attributes and authorization do not match. So this is because of the associated roles of the composite roles were not maintained properly. Suppose the composite role has 10 authorization, 10 single roles, but we were maintained only 9 or 8. Because of that, this issue would be displayed in the role import. And always make sure that the single, derived, and composite and business, we must follow the sequence to avoid the inconsistency. Otherwise, it will say the role does not exist or might be the master role were not imported in the system. If it is derived role, then the master role will not exist. Role does not exist in the system. That error will be displayed during the role imports. And make sure that if you want to define a definition, either a single, composite, derived roles, after importing the role, you cannot change the role type. This issue will be occur only when you are using skip option. So during the role import, sometimes they won't use backend system option. So they will use a skip option. So if you use a skip option, it won't validate the system, the role type. So by mistakenly, you have changed it to single to comp. System will import the role. Later you cannot change. You must delete this role in the because as soon as the role is imported into GRC system, it will be existing or it will be associated in so many tables. The role ID will be created. So make sure that the role ID definition has to appropriate and don't use the skip option. As soon as the roles are imported, make sure that sync jobs should be scheduled so that the role exists in the system will be displayed. This should come with only sync job. This option will exist only. So you to replicate the appropriate status, you must schedule the sync job. Okay. And role delete. Role, we cannot delete the role. We will always maintain the role status. We will change to dev, and we will keep that role definition into the GRC system. Also, we have a one parameter. Yeah, this parameter. So 3009 allow role. So here we have a two options. Yes means it will remove the role from backend system. No means it will only remove the role from NWBC. Like whatever the role we have imported, right? Here it will remove only role from NWBC. But as soon as the role got imported into GRC system and it is assigned to any of the user through GRC request, it won't allow to delete the role in the either backend system or front end. Front end means NWBC. It won't allow. So we will always keep the role status development, and we will remove, if it is composite role, we will remove all the associated technical roles. If it is a single role, we will just change the development status so that this role will not be available for user selection. On which situations you may have another doubt, on which occasions may this can be used. Suppose there is a one system which needs to be decommissioned. The earlier probably SRM system. SRM system will be decommissioned, and Ariba system is the replacement system. So whatever the decommission, then we have to remove the roles from the GRC repository, right? So we can identify whatever the roles which are not associated, then we can remove from NWBC. If it is associated to users, then we need to make to dev status. Any questions? So the role status, the roles just now we discussed. Production should be visible to all the users. Development should be, it won't be visible to users. We will use role status based on our operations, whether a business role or composite role level. Next is majority of the issues will occur in the operations. We just need to check this option, role change history. Why? Because It will the business role definition or authorizations might be changed recently, insert or deleted or anything. So whenever user facing some issue, we just need to check what is the role change history for a particular role, whether this has with a that so that you can start your troubleshooting with the role change history so that it will be very easy for you to understand and resolve the issue. Many of the incidents you may receive uh, and the latest definition which was not verified or authorizations which was not the job was not scheduled and authorizations were not synced and assignments were not appropriately assigned. So we need to make sure that we'll check the role change history for any issue. And configuration 40 level, these everything will be on the business role level. So we need to make sure that the configuration parameter should be no. And the best practices. The role assignment removed from backend system. We need to make sure that the operations will not performed from the backend system. And business role missing assignments. So we need to use the enable provisioning button. Make sure that we will adjust the user records. And also we need to make sure that change the role, sorry, observe the role change history to identify in case of any missing user assignments for a particular business role to the user. Also, to check role consistency report. Just now we discussed role consistency report. So that also will help understand the missing business role assignments. Always business role status should be production and complete status. So any questions? No, GREC user role will be the main table. So that is the reason I have mentioned. There are different. It may varies. A business role table means it may varies. But main key table is a business role, a GREC user role. On a particular, yes, that is user versus role. No, that is GREC role only. GREC role only. See, additional tables means only the enable provisioning button if you executed the background job, right? So the background job has separate and we need to check the status for GRS background business role related status. One minute. See, this is a business role, the background job. Display with standard previews. Even the table is not displayed, but I need to check that this class and even the table is not getting displayed. So we can verify this with help of this table. But main here is the user role table. That is for sure. We would require. But for a particular, you are looking for BRM tables or I'm not getting. Okay, let me check and I will share because see for this configuration probably some of the share some information on the tables.